All right, hello everybody. Welcome to MORE-VILLE, Orville Season 2. This is the show that reviews the Orville, our favorite sci-fi comedy. I'm Mike L, and I'm joined by G.I. Jolie.
That is who is here tonight.
Also, Champ Ian.
Oh, how you doing, guys? Just waking up over here. Oh, it's been a long day.
Well, and how was your summer break in between seasons 1 and 2?
It was a great time. It was a great time. A lot of time on the sailboat. Down at the yacht club.
Yes.
Hit the beach.
Oh, you have a boat?
Oh yeah. No,
I like that journey
just
for you. Very cute.
Making stuff up over here.
Okay, cool.
So
I never leave the
yeah,
house.
I was gonna say, Chi-Chu likes the water. I didn't take her for a sailor.
All right, so we are on to Season 2, Episode 1, which is also Episode 13, which is Jaloja. And Champion is the memory master here, so he's going to tell us what this one was about.
I am the memory master, so I'm going to tell you what this one was about.
Sorry, what was your name again?
I don't. I'm actually all right. I'm just a little distracted because somebody just called me and Skype just disappeared for like a minute, and I'm just kind of picking up where we are. So, all right. This episode starts off with a Bortus basically announcing that he has to go to the bathroom. He calls all his friends together and says that yes, it's his time of the year. It's the one time a year that Moclus urinate. And it is, unsurprisingly, an event that is shrouded in ritual. And he invites all of his friends and all of his shipmates to join him on Moclus to celebrate the Jaloja. It's a time of reflection and cleansing and
Great release.
And great release. And there's a party afterwards on the Orville in the mess hall, which is sort of the catalyst of the B plot, which is that everyone has to find a date. It's bad luck to go to a Jaloja without a date. Now, Kelly approaches Ed. Ed misinterprets this as her trying to get back together with him. But in fact, she is trying to let him know that in fact she started to date somebody. She's dating Cassius, the the ship's school teacher. Mm-hmm. Ed is horribly embarrassed and he runs away.
Scandalo! Escandalo!
Right around the same time, another attractive woman joins the ship's crew as the Orville's cartographer, and all the men start to sort of sniff around a little bit. In particular, Gordon Malloy seems quite smitten with her, but he has no idea how to talk to women, so he enlists the help of his counterpart. Why am I forgetting his name?
Lamar. Yeah.
Am I the memory master?
I think you are.
Just for names.
So, Lamar tries to teach Malloy how to talk to women. He buys him a nice cool jacket with a lot of zippers. They go to the holodeck, and he talks to a girl for 5 minutes, which is apparently enough. Now he's ready. So we have another subplot here where Finn's son Marcus.
Yes.
He meets a mischievous Ferengi at school, and they get into some sort of shenanigans. There's a bottle of vodka that Kelly finds them drinking on the holodeck, and this other boy blames Marcus, and okay, I'm starting to... Joel, you want to take over for a little bit here?
Yeah. Well, his parents kind of get in, a helicopter parent fight with Claire.
That's right.
It's the classic, there's no way our son did this. He said your son was responsible. That kind of bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And then, do you want me to pick it up from there?
Sure.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay, because basically, so Claire's son. First, what happens is, this, we'll just call him rough kid, says to Claire's son in front of Claire, "Is your mother's always such a pain in the ass?" Then later on, he and two other kids, including Claire's son, basically hack into a replicator and create a bottle of vodka. Then they are caught getting drunk on the holodeck. I'm just using TNG terms here. Drunk on the holodeck, and the rough kid's parents believe that it was Claire's son that did the hacking. Has been a bad influence, and blah blah blah. So when we get to the end of that C plot, what ends up happening is Isaac, logically, like, it's not out of emotion, but he basically goes into the computer's database and proves that it was actually the rough kid that was the one that hacked into the system, which exonerates Claire's son, and so she's all happy about that. And then jumping back to the B plot, which was Malloy, right?
Well, wait, okay, so A plot is Jaloja, right?
Right.
Yeah.
B plot is Claire and Finn. So C plot is Lamar and Malloy.
Okay, whatever. Yeah.
Because there's a D plot.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, okay, we'll talk about Lamar and Lamoy. Yeah. So basically, Lamar psychs up Malloy to the point that he thinks that he's ready to talk to this girl, and there's a great scene where he's like in the middle of like the bar, and he sees her, and it's this nice wide shot, and he's like, you think that he's going to be walking over to the table, but he basically walks around the table and comes right back. Is like, okay, that's it. See you later. I can't do it, or whatever he says. Walks out. That's how that. I don't think it goes any further than that plot, does it?
No, I think that's where it ends.
Yeah, and then okay, I don't remember what's the other plot. It's Mercer and Kelly, the love triangle, right?
Let's not forget about the E plot. There's so many. It's Catan and
Dan.
Lieutenant Dan, that's the best.
So,
oh god,
because everybody needs a date, Catan is talking to Bortus about his Jaloja, and Bortus makes a very funny joke when Catan says that she hasn't really had a lot of luck in that department. I think Michael took some notes about that.
If you wish, I will order him to mate with you. And she's like, oh no, that's okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. And then it kind of goes from there. And then so later on, she's sitting in the bar or whatever, and Lieutenant Dan walks in, and he's like, hey. She's like, hey. And he's kind of standing there awkwardly waiting for her to clue in about what's going on. And she finally does and realizes, oh my god, I've been set up with this guy. And you can see that he's like, oh, well, what is it, my head? I know, we have a really hard time meeting other species because of the size of our heads. So if she eventually decides to give him a chance. And I'm just going to pick up the rest of the E-plot. Basically, they end up going on a date, but it's really odd. This is other bar, this smaller bar on the ship.
It's called Muska's.
Okay. And I'm trying to think if there's something really awkward that happens right when she comes in.
When she comes in? Or
Yeah.
after she sits down? Because they sit down and she realizes, okay, Dan is actually a really nice guy.
Right.
And then they go on the date to Muska's. And what happens is she expects like them to have a really nice conversation, probably get to be better friends. But instead he reads her a poem.
Oh, that's right, the poem, yes.
Shall we do a reading? This is where you you play some canned harp music.
Okay.
Yearning, passion, search. Who will feed the coals of joy in the stove of my emotion? My fingers ache to penetrate the hearth. Oh. Love is the fish hook that hooks the fish. The best part about this, though, is that he asks for Ilara's honest opinion, and she gives him his honest opinion, gives him her honest opinion. And then he says, well, I didn't say take a dump all over my spirit.
Yeah.
But then, like, later in the episode, he reads it to Lieutenant Malloy.
Yeah.
Who is so enthralled by the words that he tells Lieutenant Dan that he should write a book.
Yes. Yes.
And like all women who are read a poem and then immediately asked to critique that poem, we leave the room, never to return.
No, but remember, she walks outside into the hall because she's so embarrassed, and then right away she gets a text, "I miss you," from him, and she's like, "Get me the hell out of here!" So she just takes off.
Yeah, and to be honest, had he actually not sent that "I miss you" message, it might have gone differently, but maybe not too differently. So, okay, so I've lost track of alphabetized plots here.
So now I would say we jump back to Mercer and Kelly, the love triangle.
Got it. So the B plot. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, basically, we find out that she's dating this handsome teacher who also happens to be the teacher of Claire's son and the other boy. And Mercer he claims to be fine with it, but then he's like, at one point, he's like, you know what? I'm going to go for a stroll. I'm just going to take a shuttle out, just, to get some fresh air. And then so we cut to Kelly and her teacher boyfriend in her quarters, and they're like, drinking wine or whatever, and then they're just about to start making out. And in this awesome, hilarious wide shot, we see a shuttle creeping into the scene in the background, and it's freaking hilarious. And then just as Kelly looks over, Mercer realizes she's caught him, and so he hits the cloaking device on the ship and makes it disappear. Then, like a few scenes later, she storms into his office and is like, Ed, were you spying on me? Or did you take a shuttle out, last night? Nope, wasn't me. Are you sure? No, I didn't do that. And then she shows a log. It says here that at 0800 hours, you took out a shuttle. He's like, oh, this is a gag I have going. We pretend with the engineer or whatever. It's like, he pretends that I took a shuttle out, and then I pretend that he took a shuttle out when actually we didn't take a shuttle out. Isn't it funny? And finally he admits, okay, I took a shuttle. And then they have a little argument, and then basically that wraps up that. And then to resolve the main plot, Champion, do you remember what happens with plot A?
Plot A, that's the Jaloja plot?
Yes.
Everybody goes down to the planet, and Bortus shouts some enthusiastic words before he pees off a cliff.
Yes.
And
that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah, now apparently, I was wondering about that scene because it felt like there should have been some sounds of urination. Apparently in the original edit, there was loud sounds of urination as well as like sounds of relief. But Seth MacFarlane felt like it kind of ruined the scene. However, I personally think they should have left it because even if you go back to the middle of, or like near the beginning of the episode, when Captain Mercer's trying to explain to the crew about what's going on, he's like, okay, I don't want to hear any jokes about this, but Bortus only urinates once a year and we got to go back to his planet to watch him do it. It's a ritual, blah, blah, blah. I think right at the end of the scene, somebody says, oh, what is it? I don't remember.
Malloy throws in a couple of one-liners, like, what if it's windy?
Yeah. And then someone else says something about being relieved. And then someone else says, oh, don't worry, he's just taking the piss out of you.
That's Malloy again.
Yeah, right. It's like, and then Mercer's like, okay, that's it. Meeting adjourned or whatever. Then they all get up. But, I
agree with you there. Like, they should have left something in because, first of all, they've already illustrated that they're not shy about joking about it.
Right.
But second of all, like, that's what they're there to do. They're there to watch him pee. So why not have him pee?
Exactly.
It'd be funny for us, but it wouldn't be outside of reality there. It's
and also, I think even though the whole thing is a joke, it's also supposed to show that other cultures have different, they view, see things differently and blah, blah, blah. So if in their culture it's normal to listen to someone urinate like that, then why not just have it in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, okay, so here's the thing about this episode is, the thing I loved about it is there was no big threat, right? There was no crisis. It was just, as we just illustrated, 5 different subplots about different people on the ship. And once again, I've formulated a theory that the episodes that are on the ship tend to be better. And so for that reason, I thought this was a really strong but unexpected opening to season 2 for the fact that they focused on the characters and not a big plot.
Yeah, it's always good when they just... It's always nice when they focus on characters. Apparently, this was a very highly praised episode of the second season. Mm-hmm. Also very highly watched. And I agree. I really liked seeing new faces, and I really love seeing all of our old faces. So just kind of working the new people in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in some shows, they it's kind of heavy-handed. This is just like really nice,
right?
Yeah, I think her name is the dark matter cartographer. It's just really quick, and they don't go overboard with it. Mm-hmm. They don't give us what is the expression in comics where they all of the dialogue explains their backstory and what it is they do and who they are.
Exposition. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a info dump. That's
right.
It.
Yes.
So they don't info dump in any of their dialogues. Also, you know enough about Cassius that he is there to sort of like he's part of one of the main plots, so they know enough to focus on his character and just enough on his character.
Mm-hmm.
I liked how they played. You thought that he was going to be somebody that Mercer hated, and then because of Kelly's reaction to Mercer doing a drive-by of her quarters,
yes,
they kind of Ed does something that I didn't think that he would do, which when I think about it, he's a starship captain, so of course he would. He goes and he talks to Cassius to apologize for doing what he did. But as it turns out, and unbeknownst to him, Cassius and Kelly have a fight because they don't actually see eye to eye on Ed's actions.
Right.
Which was kind of a nice surprise.
Mm-hmm. So,
I mean, it begs the question, have either of you two done a drive-by? Is this just is this a males only thing?
I don't know if I've done I can admit I've never done a targeted drive-by. but I've done I'm gonna drive down this street because maybe I'll see my ex-girlfriend, but I've never driven to a specific place looking for her. But anyway, I'll leave it at that. Okay. Champion, you can take it from here.
Oh, are we still talking about drive-bys? I don't know.
Yeah, you know.
Oh no, I've 1,000,000% done the drive-by.
Yeah.
And you know what? I will 1,000,000% do the drive-by again in the future. It's just something that people do.
Sure. Right? Yeah.
It's not. I don't know. It's part of the healing process.
Yeah. Just like checking your Facebook page 6 years later is. Anyway, okay. Happy Valentine's Day. What else can we talk about? Okay.
3.
Yeah.
How appropriate that we're recording this episode on Valentine's Day too.
Yes,
it's the perfect episode to be.
Yeah, it is
perfect day to be discussing this episode.
Absolutely.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know. I know a little bit about writing, but the one thing I know is that the best way to come up with original plots is to make the plots come out of the characters instead of cooking up a kind of cliche plot and then sticking the characters in, which maybe was one of the weaknesses of season 1, right? Where we would see plots that so closely resembled plots from Star Trek TNG that they might as well have been the same episode, right? Mm-hmm. And so you take a generic plot like, crew beams down to planet and this happens. And then you kind of just insert the characters in like, oh, well, we need someone to be misunderstood on camera, so we use Lamar. Was it Lamar? Yes, I always mix up Lamar and Malloy. Or, you know what I mean? Whereas with this episode, I think that, like you said, everything was kind of a surprise, like Jolie said about Mercer, because we didn't expect Kelly and her new boyfriend to disagree about the way that they reacted to Mercer's drive-by. So that's what I think makes this episode work.
That's a really good point. Everything that happened, especially in that plot point, is all based on things that we've already long ago learned about Ed and Kelly, and particularly Ed's insecurities about not being with her and having her on the ship. And I think they did a great job with Cassius. He was completely level-headed, and just by being that level-headed person, he sort of exacerbated their conflict. Before sort of not really driving, but getting Ed to realize himself that he was being, unreasonable. And he has a bit of a character growth moment there as a result. Yeah,
that's a good point. Now, was this episode the one that started out with Mercer sitting at the bar with Catan?
Yes.
Because I didn't realize this until I read the credits. Do you guys know who played the bartender, the dinosaur bartender?
Is it Whoopi Goldberg and a lot of makeup?
Close. Jason Alexander.
Oh, really?
Yes. Can you believe that? I had no idea. But when you go back and watch it, of course it's Jason Alexander. Yeah. And he's also in another episode. So maybe this is a recurring thing, and I didn't even realize it when it was happening. Now, he does have... I can't remember if he was ever in an episode of Star Trek, or was it Babylon 5? But I definitely know before I even became a fan of Seinfeld, I saw him on episodes of a sci-fi. Oh, Voyager. He was in one episode of Voyager as a character named Kuros. And I believe that's it. Okay, I guess that's the only connection. But still, it's kind of cool that they had him. And they have him. Yeah, so I don't know what else to say. Overall, I like this episode. I know that everyone likes... We have certain fans that like us talking about the jokes. To be honest, I've mentioned most of the jokes that I liked. But if you guys would like me to play back my joke reel one more time, let me just play it back to see if I missed any. Hold on a sec, guys. Here.
Oh, boy.
Oh, crap. Oh, wait. Sorry, guys.
The joke is it doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, here we go. Orville 13. Bortus, I will order him to mate with you. Then, Captain Mercer floating into the background of the scene of Kelly kissing that guy. Listen, Cassius, damn. Walks in, walks around her, walks out. Can't do it. Thanks for the help. Okay, so the one that wasn't listed there was the joke about Cassius versus Cassius. They kind of make a joke out of it. Then later on, when Mercer, has his private talk with him, he's like, "Listen, Cassius," and he's like, "Cassius, damn." Little moments like that are great, I think.
Yeah, and that one's kind of humorous because, at that moment, Ed wasn't trying to troll him, but
right.
he just screwed up because he had confused himself from that little argument or that little bit with Kelly earlier.
And it's also a relief because I'm trying to find gags on the show that are not lowbrow humor and they're not pop culture references, and so that is one there, right? So that's why I think it's a good joke.
Yeah, they've actually come down on the pop culture references. They only make one, really.
In this episode?
Yeah.
Oh, Kelly's favorite band?
Okay, two.
I
guess one's a little less heavy-handed. When they replicate something that would be cool for Malloy to wear.
Oh, like the Michael Jackson jacket?
Yeah, and it's like a blue version of Michael Jackson's Thriller jacket.
Right, yeah.
I love that he wears that jacket for 2/3 of the episode, too.
Yes!
He's just walking around the ship wearing it.
Right.
Oh, yeah. And he's like, oh, cool, it's got so many zippers. Oh.
So basically, I was a huge fan of this episode. Going back, because I do remember thinking season 2 was better, and then after I watched season 1, again, I was like, wow, how could season 2 be better? But already I could feel that they're more comfortable, I think, with their tone. What do you guys think?
Yeah, definitely. I agree that this was a great episode. It's a difficult episode to talk about because there's so much going on.
Right.
But everything that's going on is very subtle.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And the fact that it is all on the ship and it's all very character driven, nothing felt forced. It didn't make any big revelations, but it just sort of added some spice to what we already know about everybody. And I think that it's one of my favorite episodes so far, to be honest.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, and I love how they are setting up Isaac's relationship. They continue the relationship between Isaac and Claire Finn's two sons. It's subtle. I know what's happening, and if most people watching have seen the Orville later on, we know what they're doing, but they're not pushing the envelope too quickly or too soon.
There are some great Isaac bits there too that we haven't talked about. Where when Claire is first when she's having this argument with Marcus, and then he runs off to his room after that little fight, and Isaac is kind of confused as to what's going on, and Claire is lamenting at how quickly they grow up and so on and so forth, and Isaac suggests like some sort of drug that she can give her son to stunt his growth, so he doesn't grow so quickly.
Yeah.
And then later on in the sickbay, Claire walks in and asks Isaac, "Am I a bad parent?" And he says, "Yes, I think you're a bad parent."
Yeah, based on what's happening, I think you're terrible. Yeah, that was actually. It's nice though. It's because it's like, one of the reasons why what happens later is because she's able to digest his honesty.
Right.
Because she's surprised at how accepting of full honesty she is as a single parent.
I should also point out that whereas critics and audiences were divided on season 1, I think the critics were giving season 1 like an average of 58% approval or whatever on Rotten Tomatoes. By this episode, the approval by critics was 100%. So I don't know how skewed that is. I don't know if it means anything. It doesn't matter. But critics definitely started to warm up with the second season, and I think it deserved it. So definitely
either that or all the most critical critics said, "I'm not even going to bother watching it."
That could be it. You're right. Yeah, who knows, right? But yeah, this was definitely a good episode. I enjoyed it. Now, did you guys? Okay, I'm just going to cut this part out. But did you guys want to talk about characters? Or you want to drop that because we've talked about them all?
If somebody comes up, we will, but no one's come up.
Okay.
Agreed.
Okay. So then, I guess that wraps up this review, right? Nice little quick review, just like every review. You can listen to all episodes of MORE-VILLE, Orville on the same place that you found this one, right? But if you are going to pick one, pick www.comicbooksyndicate.com. That's the best place to listen to it, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you think you could fall down a podcast hole and listen to every other one that we do? Maybe you like Spider-Man.
Wait, there's other podcasts there?
Oh boy, wouldn't you know? If you like Spider-Man.
Here comes the Spider-Cast. Yes, sorry.
Yeah. And if you like Marvel Disney Plus shows / tiered lists about Evan Peters / currently we're talking about Peacemaker, then you can listen to the Full Volume podcast.
Right, and then if
I
you
love
like
all those things.
Wait, but do you like random reviews of 1980s comic books by Mike Dell and Mike L?
Crickets.
No, you don't. Just like no one else on Earth. Okay, so don't listen to Flea Market Fantasy. There you go. Okay, so yeah, I guess that wraps it up. And until the next episode, there's more where that came from.